Welcome back everybody to another Geometry Dash tutorial. In this one, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna teach you how you can make yourself kind of be like in this room in a platformer level, and that would be basically like room 1, and then there's gonna be room 2. So how exactly do people do that? Well, let's just begin. Slap that subscribe button because we're gonna do everything step for step as a beginner tutorial. So let's say you have this thing, and also I'm gonna be dropping some like secrets and hints here and there. So let's say you want to start here. How do you actually start the player at a certain point? So let's say we want to start the player right here. So you want to add any object. You can add this or pretty much anything. And go to edit group. Give this a group ID. Let's say we give it 1. And then go to settings and then settings again. And then just type in 1. So now you should start in here if you go to platformer mode. Of course, this only works in platformer mode. However, in classic mode, you can decide where you start on the y-axis. So if you do this, you're actually going to start up there. So yeah, that's because in classic mode, you basically cannot start beyond this line. And yeah, that being said, we now have a room. So how exactly do we want to make the camera kind of stuck in here so that we don't kind of move around and all of that? So we're going to do that really quick, but I'm just going to go ahead and build something very simple. We're going to do something like that. I'm going to add a bunch of spikes. So we want the camera to be locked onto that room. So to do that is actually very easy. Just add a camera guide, and this one's basically going to show you these lines. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of drop this in here. And this is basically how much you're going to be able to see if you make the camera static on that specific object. It sounds complicated, but it is very simple. So after having that here, you want to give it a new group ID as well. Let's say we give it a group ID of 2. Right, so now you want to add the camera static right at the beginning of the level before this white line. This white line basically decides that this is the beginning of the level. So by clicking onto edit object, going to 0 duration, and in here you want to select 2 because you want the camera to focus on this thing. And now you guys can see that we have made the camera be on here. Now, depending on your aspect ratio of your monitor, you're going to see that the lines in here, either the orange one or the green one, is going to basically perfectly line up with your monitor. In my case, it's this orange one, and you guys can read the details about it in here. So the inner line is basically a guaranteed view for everybody. So if you're making a gameplay and let's say the camera was like, I don't know, let's say like this, then, or I want to add like an orb in here, then you guys see that this orb is actually visible for me. But believe it or not, some people are actually going to play this level and they're not going to be able to see this orb because it's out of reach. If they have a 4x3 like stated in here, then they will only see that which is inside the green area. So that is very important to keep in mind to make sure you never do some weird stuff. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm simply just gonna add this teleportation orb. You could add this one also, but I think this one just looks a bit cooler, so we're gonna go with that one. Actually, I kind of changed my mind. We're gonna do for a diamond one like that. And the reason for that, you guys are going to know in a bit. Also, I like to always recommend kind of making it centered. So you guys can see that the distance between this and the line is very low. But this and the line is very high. So doing maybe something like this should make it a lot cleaner. So now the room is basically exactly in the center. Very cool. And also all the blocks are within the green line. You can go as crazy as this, but don't go too much because otherwise the wall is just not going to be visible for people with a 4x3. So cool. Now clicking this, we want it to teleport us to level 2. So how do we exactly even do the levels? So I'm just going to go ahead and add some UI elements. This is also very super duper easy. We want to add a camera guide and we're going to give it a new group ID as well. Let's say we give it the group ID of 3. And now we're just going to go ahead and select this text that you can find in here. Edit object text, and then we're gonna do like level, and we're gonna do like that, and we're gonna do a space, and we're gonna put it right, actually we're gonna do like 0.5 or something. I'm gonna put it right here. So this one you also want to give a group ID. Let's say we give it like 4. So this one is 3, this one is 4. So we want to go to this UI trigger and we want 4 to be linked to 3 because 3 is the UI target and we want it to display on the top left. So right here, now if you guys start, you guys are going to see that this is indeed the level. So that is very cool. Now, how do we actually make it so that it always increases the level? There's actually ways where you can, do this one, and then you can do 2, 3, 4. But I'm going to show you one that is just phenomenal to make, very easy and super duper reusable. That's what's very important. You want to make it very usable and very optimized. So you want to add this 0. Just make sure you scale it to the proper size and just put it right here. Also click on Edit Special, make it left align. And now reposition it perfectly like that. And now you want to select this one, copy values, that one, paste state. This one's basically just going to give this the exact same group ID, but so that if you start, you guys are going to see that the level is now set to 0. If you want to start at level 1, it's very simple. So select this one and give it a item ID. We're going to give it to 1 because this is the next free item ID, and just add a pickup trigger. Go to Edit Object 1 and override and 1, and this is basically going to make this number 1. So every time you click this, we want it to basically send you on to the next stage. So I'm just going to go ahead and build the next stage, which really isn't going to be too crazy. But one thing that you guys have to keep in mind is that if you copy this one, nothing is going to work anymore, because what's going to happen, let's say you copy this one, put it in here. Well, now the player is spawning right there, because if you have 2 or more spawning positions that have the same group ID, the game is going to choose a random one of them. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it's actually the case. So if we do this, for example, you guys are going to see that every time I start, it's going to start me in a random position of these guys, which is why you really want to only have one, unless you're going for a fancy idea and just want to have a randomized starting point, which would also be pretty cool. But for our case, we really do not want that. So you want to make sure that you never actually, just copy and paste it too many times. So now the same with this one, if you copy and paste it, it's going to be weird. Yeah, because now this static trigger doesn't really know which one is 2. So is it this or is it this? We don't really know. So the best thing to do is to give this one a new group ID of 5. And so this one, as soon as we click it, we want to change it to 5. So this is very easy. I'm just going to go ahead and change this up a bit just to make sure that we can actually see some difference, because otherwise we're not going to be able to tell if this is even the same room. So we're going to do something like this, and you're actually going to start on the left side. So to do this, it's very, very simple. You want to add any object you want. Let's say you add this circle. Now, all these objects that I'm adding, you can always select and make them hide in here. But I'm just going to keep them visible just so that you guys can see what's going on. So we're going to give this a new group ID. Let's say we give it the group ID of 6. And now when I click this, I want it to teleport to here and set this as my camera. So to do that, first of all, we're going to set the camera to 5. We're going to do instant static, not exit. No, okay, just do the duration as 0. Spawn trigger and multi-trigger. And now we want to teleport the player. So put this teleportation right here and see this one. Circle is 6, so we want to teleport you to 6. By the way, if you can't see this, just go here and show object info. Very, very useful. So now that you have these two, you want to select both of them and give those a new group ID. Let's say we give them the 7 and edit object spawn, very important. And now these guys are 7, so we just need to spawn group 7 as soon as we click it. And there's actually a secret button in here that allows you to activate group 7, which means as soon as we click it, everything that we did up there should spawn, and boom, there we go. We are on to the next room. But small issues. First thing is, if you see this flash that you guys saw, as soon as I click this, there's like this flash, which is not very cool. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go here, extra and no effects. So now if you start, you guys are gonna see that it just goes. There's absolutely no effect. And we also need to increase the level number. So we're gonna copy and paste the pickup trigger. We're gonna select this, copy values, this one, paste state, and we're gonna remove the override and just do spawn trigger. So now you guys are going to see level 1, and now I click and now it's level 2. How beautiful is that? Now, if you want to keep doing that, it's actually going to get a bit unoptimized and it's going to get very weird. So how do we transition to the third one? Now, if you do this, it's going to be weird because this one just transitions you into the same stage. So I'm going to show you guys how you can pretty much do this infinite times, no matter how many rooms you have. So we're going to copy and paste everything onto here. And the second thing you want to do is give this a new group ID of 8. And this one has to be a new group ID of, let's say, 9. And this time I'm going to start like somewhere in the center in here, just so that we can actually see that this is a different room. And I'm going to make this like really high, just to actually have some differences in these, because otherwise we're not going to be able to tell. So this is pretty much like impossible or something, I don't really know. But yeah, we're going to fill this in with spikes too, because why not? Okay, now we have this. How do we make this as optimized as possible? You want to make sure that the way your triggers are set and organized is very, very lean. So, like I said, this one is 8, this one is 9. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste this one to here, and we're going to see. So next up, we want to do 8. So we're going to go in here and do 8. So the first time you click it, you're going to transition onto 5, which is 5. But the next time you click it, it's going to transition you to 8, which is 8. But this time we want to teleport to 9. So we're going to copy and paste this one and do 9. And this one is the exact same, so we don't have to copy and paste it. So do you guys see where we're going with this? It's a lot repetitive. So we're going to use a sequence trigger because this is going to make it a lot more optimized. So every time you click this, the sequence trigger is going to be called. So we're going to do copy values and paste state, and we're going to go to edit object. We're going to do this, and what we're going to do is select this one. So this is teleporting to the next level. So we want to do group ID of 10, and these guys are going to have the group ID of 11. And we want to do 10 in here plus and 11. So what this will do is every time you click this, it's actually going to trigger this spawn trigger. And this one looks, okay, we're going to do number 10, which is this one. And then the next time it's called, it's going to do number 11. So even though this literally has the exact same group ID in here, the game is just going to know exactly what you want. So boom, and then if you click the same object, it's going to bring you to level 3. That is phenomenal. But one more thing even that you can optimize is that we're just going to increase level every single time. So just add this over to here by basically doing that. And now every time you click it, it's going to increase the level and it's going to do the next thing. So you can just keep doing this. You can just do that. Let's just mirror it because I am lazy. And we're going to do this 12 and this 13. So this one has to be 12 and this one has to be 13. Now select these, give them a new group ID 14, and then add the 14 in here. Boom, boom, 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. See, now you can add as many rooms as you want. And you can also customize it as you wish. It is very, very cool. But now the next time you click it, I want you to end the level. So we're going to add an end trigger, give it a new group ID of 15. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then 50, and then we're done. Okay, that was a speedrun mode at the end, but I think you guys understand exactly what I just did. But always important if you use this to actually add this object, because it just removes the transitions in and out of the screen, which if you don't know what it means, it just transitions the blocks into the thing, which is not what we want in here because this is not a classic level. So click in here, onto the next one, onto the next one, and onto the next one. If you see the background changing, well, you could have a custom background, but an option is to do this. I think this works. I have not actually tried it out, but yeah, of course it should work because RobTop has done a phenomenal job on this editor. So yeah. With that, we have created a very cool leveling system. Level 2, wait, level 3 is no longer working. Why? Because this thing is not on multi-trigger. That is a big mistake. All of these guys, actually only these two, have to be on multi-trigger. And these guys, they only get called once per round. So that was a very crucial mistake that I did there. Could have been fatal, but we took a look at it and we actually spotted it. So that's a W on there. And room 2, no, room 3, now it's working, room 4, and room numero quinto quanto. Okay, that's it. Feel free to rewatch this tutorial as many times as you want. I also would like to recommend you all watching all the playlists that are on the screen right now. They are very, very helpful, and I will see you guys over there.